Venerable Sir, today we have altogether 8 questions, all on meditation.
Okay.
Venerable Sir, this is my first time in a meditation retreat. Please can you explain how to do walking and sitting meditation? Thero Saranai.
Okay, we'll start with walking meditation. So we'll, as sometimes we have the notion that meditation is only sitting. So when someone is meditating, so we expect some kind of a sitting posture, someone sitting calm and quiet with cross-leg posture. So that is what we typically think as meditation. But meditation can be done in all postures. So among those all 4 postures, sitting, lying down, walking and standing, so walking meditation and sitting meditation are the most frequently used ones. So to tell you a little bit about walking meditation, so that is one of the mostly extremely useful for Vipassana meditation. So it gives a fair amount of training for Vipassana. So I encourage all of you to do walking meditation. So that's why I selected walking meditation to explain first. So suppose you go to a walking path. It may be a sand path, it may be a choir mat. So you select your path and then without thinking any kind of meditation, you just walk in the walking path up and down and just be familiar with the setting. Okay, so you know where the things are very well laid down, and if there are any, say, thorns or stones or whatever the obstacles, you notice them. So you know fair amount of information once you be familiar with the walking path. So for first 5 minutes, it's a matter of getting used to the path. So another important thing is while walking in this 5 minutes, so you find out what is the comfortable speed. So it is not expected for you all to walk extremely slowly, neither you have to walk extremely fast. So you need to find out what is the most comfortable speed of walking. So within these 5 minutes, you may find out what is the suitable or comfortable speed. And after that, suppose you are standing at one end, and then you hope to now start with walking meditation. So the idea is, so typically when we are walking, our mind is not with walking. So typically, so our bodies are walking, but our minds are wandering. So we are daydreaming, thinking about the future, thinking about the past. So that is what we do. So in walking meditation, so we want to be exactly what the body is doing. So we have to fully aware of what body is doing. So even you can have a kind of a bird's eye view of the walking posture. Okay, I'm just walking. Even that is one level. Another thing is, while walking, so you know that your left foot is touching the floor, your right foot is touching the ground. So likewise, so you know these all sensations. When your soles are touching the floor, you know exactly when it is exactly touching the floor. Because it is at very moment you feel a kind of a stiffness, kind of a roughness, toughness of the ground. So that you have to be very aware. So there is nothing much, nothing complicated. Keep it very simple. And when it is touching the floor, you are simply being aware that now my left foot is touching the floor. If you like, you can make a note, okay, it is left. Similarly, when your right foot is touching the floor, you very well aware when it is touching the ground, you feel it, maybe kind of stiffness, roughness or whatever such quality, you may feel it. So at that moment you can note it as right. So this noting helps you to stop wandering, to avoid wandering. And similarly, when again the next foot is touching, okay, left. When right foot is touching, right. So simple. It's very simple. So simply as your foot is touching the floor, you are being aware of what it is touching. So even though it appears very simple, while you are doing it, your mind wanders. So that is the nature of our untamed mind. So don't worry about it. We are here to tame our mind. So when your left foot is touching, suppose mind has wandered. Say after 10 minutes only you get to know, okay, I have to walk. I am in a retreat center. I have come here to meditate. Now you got your mindfulness established. At that time, don't worry about what has happened. Don't think about what you thought. Don't regret. Just come back to where you are. So if at that time, when you are returning point, if your left foot is the one touching the ground, just start from there. Okay, it is left. If it is the right foot, it is touching the ground, just say it is right and just go from there. So one important thing is don't averse to yourself. Just be comfortable. Acknowledge that the typical nature of the untrained mind is to go or wander. So we are now trying to take it back to where we like, where we want. Now suppose you are going for about 10 steps, okay? Left, right, left, right, left, right. So likewise, you are going for 10 steps, and again now mind wanders. Again bring it back. Once you get to know, once you establish your mindfulness, understood that it has wandered, take it back and come back to walking. So your goal has to be not to attain anything, just to increase number of steps. So just keep a very easy target, kind of an achievable target. Okay, if I am capable of going for 5 steps comfortably without any distraction, now try to make it 6. Next time, now to make it 7. So keep it very simple. So that's one thing I would like to add. So at the end, so once you reach the end of the walking path, you have to turn in order to come back. So at that time, there's a fair chance that you may lose your mindfulness. So therefore, don't immediately turn back. So you go to the end and stay there for a second. And if you like, you can stand there. And even if you can note it like standing. And standing, and you now comfortable. And then slowly turn back. With short steps, you slowly turn back. Okay, left, right. And then now we are looking back. And again, don't start immediately. Just, if you like, you can note it as standing. And then slowly come back again with left, right. So this is typically you can, even while changing, even at the ends, so you can keep it, your concentration or your mindfulness unbroken. So while you are doing this, if it is extremely difficult, say too much wandering, too much distractions, then if you like, you can make it to 2 steps rather than left, right. You can make it lifting and placing. So during the lifting phase, you have to be fully aware of the complete lifting process. When you are placing, you have to be fully aware of the placing process. So that way your mind is more involved in the process. I think this is fair enough for a beginner. So, and again, don't walk while keeping your eyes closed. So just keep your eyes open. So it is not that you are looking all around. Rather, you are simply, say, you can see around a couple of, say, about 5 feet into the front. And if you are watching all around, then it is too much distractions. So just keep your eyesight around 5 feet to your front and just do the walking meditation. And if you like, you can keep your hands like this to your front or to your back like this. So if you are using it to the sides, it might distract you a little bit. But as you are familiar with this process to the walking meditation, even you can keep your hands like this or to your sides. So it won't distract you much. So at the beginning you keep everything very to the sort of to the very much accurate, so that less amount of distractions, because walking meditation itself is a little challenging at the beginning, because your attention has to shift every time. When your left foot is touching, you have to keep your attention on left foot. When your right foot is touching, you have to keep your attention on right foot. So we are changing the object, but with continuous mindfulness. So suppose you are able to maintain like this, and you are able to establish mindfulness. Now mind is calmed down, and with that build up mindfulness, come back to sitting. So in sitting meditation, so you come to a place like this, and sit quietly. And if it is possible, if it is convenient, you can sit cross-legged. And if it is difficult, you can use a meditation chair. So if you are coming from walking session, then your mind should be fairly calmed down, fully established with mindfulness. And if you want, you can do some kind of a short scanning, where you are now, suppose you are sitting and your buttocks are touching the cushion, and you can feel these touch sensations. And if you are keeping your hands on top of the other, you can feel the warmth of one hand to the other, and legs are touching, and you can feel these touch sensations. So likewise, you go through your body for a few minutes, and so further establish your mindfulness. So you are coming back to the present moment. So suppose you are able to come back to your present moment. Say again mind distracts, okay, say it brings various thoughts about the past, maybe going to the future. So your duty is to sort of don't give any value to these thoughts. So thinking is not meditation. While using thinking, you can go nowhere. So always devalue thinking. So your mind will tell various things, 101 things, but all are nonsense. So therefore just keep your attention to your body. So this body is a very sort of comfortable anchoring point for the mind. So keep always your attention to the body. So once sitting, after suppose you are able to establish your mindfulness, checking whether you have come to the presence. If you have come to the presence, that means in the present moment, so you can feel something in your body. Say it may be kind of a itching, it may be a kind of a touching, maybe breathing, maybe rising and falling of your abdomen, or even the posture, the sitting posture. So any of these things are valid signs of mindfulness. So typically these days we are sort of encouraging either to use rising and falling, or in-breath and out-breath, anapanasati, or the sitting posture as the main meditation objects in the sitting. So see which one is more evident for you. Suppose rising and falling is more prominent. Then each rising, be aware of how your abdomen is rising. Okay, it's when you are breathing in, your abdomen slowly moves to the front, to the forward. So it's we simply call it as rising. Okay, it is rising. Now you are fully aware of this rising process, and if you like, you can note it as rising. And once it's complete, it comes to a kind of a standstill, and then it is again coming back. It is falling. So you can note it as falling. So similarly in Anapanasati also, the only difference is during rising and falling, your attention is at the abdomen area. So somewhere here. But in Anapanasati, in breath and out breath, your attention anchoring point has to be somewhere close to your nostril. It doesn't necessary to be a very pinpoint, but rather say about 2-inch kind of a area. So that is fair enough. So don't try to be very exact, very accurate, finding out the exact point. But if you can maintain your attention somewhere around this sort of 1 inch, 2 inch area, that is more than enough. So while breathing in, if you like, you can note it as breathing in or just 1. When breathing out, you can note it as out or breathing out. So likewise, you are using breathing also as an anchoring point for this to establish mindfulness. So similarly, like in walking meditation, mind can wander. So it's the nature of the mind. So once you know that it has wandered, bring it back. So it is necessary to do this focus attention for fair amount of time, because it is necessary, because we need to have some kind of control or some kind of taming of the mind at the beginning. So therefore, do this focus attention. So you are focusing your attention to breath, each and every breath. Suppose in line there are 100 breaths. So each breath is a kind of a resource for you to develop your mindfulness. So each breath you are using, okay, in breath I am improving mindfulness. Again it is out breath, I am improving mindfulness. Little bit of mindfulness. Okay, second breath, now it is coming, you are developing mindfulness from the in breath. Again out breath, you are developing mindfulness. It's gone. Now it is the third breath. So likewise, each and every breath we are using to improve mindfulness. So I think this is enough for kind of introduction for sitting and walking. So please, I encourage you to write your experience, because otherwise you are simply doing it without communicating. So I encourage all of you to write your experience, what you experience when you are engaged with this meditation. So write your experience, like starting with what is your, say, primary object, so, and how you are approaching it, how you sense it, how you felt it, and how, if mind wandered, how you are able to handle it, and likewise what are the obstacles. So all these things record and present, so then we can actually have a good dialogue. Okay, we'll go to the next section.
Venerable Bhante, there are two sections in this, the two questions. Venerable Bhante, when I do walking meditation, I tend to walk a little fast and not slow as intended. Is it all right?
Yeah, as I said, if you feel that you can maintain it, say if you are walking too fast, it might be difficult. Say you might feel tired if it is too fast, and again if it is too slow, again it could be difficult, because you have to maintain the body balance, and if it is too slow, also very difficult. Again, if it is too fast, also difficult. So find out the right speed. So from person to person it may vary. So therefore there is no kind of a standard speed. Okay, I can't have a kind of a gadget and find out the exact speed. So rather it's kind of a more comfortable to you. So idea is, when you are doing walking meditation, you feel relaxed. So you don't need much effort to maintain. So you are simply like you are allowing your mind to go from this end to the other end, this end to the other end. So the body is simply walking and you are simply watching. So allow your body to just go from this end to the other end, and you are simply like an outsider, you are simply watching this process happening. So if it is such natural, so that is the best speed, because you have not much effort to maintain it. So if it is too slow, so you are slowly raising your foot, then you are losing the balance again, you are settling again, changing again, putting your leg. So it is little difficult, because you have to maintain the balance. So you are fair amount of time you are on one leg. So it will be a kind of a balancing exercise rather than walking meditation. So therefore just keep it typical speed. So it is you are walking. The idea is not that you are finding out a kind of a exact, very pinpointed information. You may be able to find it even when you are walking in a kind of a moderate speed. So it is not necessary for you to extremely slow in order to find out this very subtle detail. Even once your mindfulness develop, while you are engaged in the moderate speed, still you are able to quickly catch this subtle detail. So therefore, at the beginning, so find out a fairly comfortable, moderate speed, so you can maintain that for a long time. Yes.
Second question, can anyone achieve Anapanasati while lying down to a side? Thank you. Theruvan Saranai.
Actually, when Buddha is giving instructions on Anapanasati, he says, Aranyagatova, Rukkamulagatova, Sunyagaragatova, Nisidati Pallankang Abhujitva, Ujunkayam Panidaya, Parimukang Sating Upattapetva. So Pallankang Abhujitva. So he advised a beginner to have cross-leg posture. So a sitting posture. And Ujunkayam, so he expects us to have a straight body. So this is in a way the beginning. So because you need, since it is a kind of a respiration process, it has to be very smooth, very natural. So you are giving all the facilities to have that natural breathing. So if you are in a kind of a different posture, it might not have this exact balance of the body. Now when you are sitting like this, for example, so you have a fairly balanced posture. There is no side to your lean. Rather, you are kind of like a pyramid. You are well balanced. So that may be the reason that the Buddha is recommending this kind of sitting posture, well balanced, straightened back, and your head is straight. So likewise, it is necessary at the beginning. So therefore, I also think, so as beginners, as a beginner, if you are practicing Anapanasati, so try to maintain this posture. So if it is too difficult due to various reasons, you can use a chair, and there also you can lean to the side, or rather to the backrest, and if it is too much to the backside, then you might fall asleep. So again, if it is not to the 90 degree or something, then you might, once you are concentrating, you might fall to the front. So you have to avoid both. So while meditation happen, you should not all of a sudden, or gradually you come all the down to the front, then it's wrong. So it's okay to have a little adjustment. Okay, you start fairly straight, but with time you may be little adjusting yourself. Okay, for example, I am sitting like this. Okay, I am little too tough like now, too straight. Okay, now my back is too straight, but okay, no problem, I am starting like this. But with time, so I am now relaxing. Okay, I am coming to a more relaxed posture. So that is allow it to change. So don't immediately straighten yourself. Just allow, because body knows what is the most comfortable. So with time, let it adjust. And but when you are familiar with Anapanasati, when you are sort of seasoned with it, you can use Anapanasati in lying down posture as well. As this question asks, so if you are able to sort of establish mindfulness, if you are sort of now a little experienced meditator, you can observe breathing while lying down, while sitting, while standing, while walking. You can experience breathing in any posture. So it depends on where you are. So if you are able to keep your attention at the nostril while lying down, even to a side, so no harm. Yes.
Venerable Sir, during walking meditation, do we give prominence to the foot touching the ground or to the other foot which is moving? Theruvan Saranai.
That also depends. Actually, when you are paying attention to one leg, the other leg also may be in another process. So one is touching the ground and you feel the touch sensation and various sensations. The other foot is now lifting up and it is moving. So check which one is more interesting for you. So there is no rule as such. Okay, everyone should always keep your attention at the touching, not to the lifting. There is no such rule. So probably you can even say while going from one end to the other end, so you are using the touching. When you are coming back, you may be using the lifting, moving, like that. So you can make it interesting. Because you need to have sometimes a balance of these elements. Now suppose you are always keeping your attention to this touch sensation, this stiffness, some roughness, all these things, those are actually one side of the earth element. But on the other hand, if you are keeping your attention to kind of a lightness, movement, vibration, that kind of thing, so those are characteristics of some certain other elements. So if you are able to get a sense of all these things, it becomes very interesting. So rather than always keeping your attention to one thing, but even if you are maintaining your attention to one thing, that's also no harm. So there is no rule. So you can investigate what is more interesting for you. When is you can reduce your distraction. So suppose while you are always keeping your attention to touching, or left leg also touching, right leg also touching, left leg also touching, right leg also touching. So it's become a little boring maybe. So your mind might start wandering. So you can introduce little bit more information. Like, okay, when left leg is touching, you are observing how the other leg is moving. So your attention has to shift to the other leg. So all these things are kind of experiments, may be interesting at the beginning. So in order to establish mindfulness. But as you become more and more familiar with this walking meditation, so it becomes more natural. You don't need to forcefully focus attention to anything, but rather mindfulness itself understand the balance. So if it is keeping attention on the touching, so it has some kind of texture. When it is keeping its attention on the movement, it has another kind of a feeling, another kind of a texture. Okay, so it understands the differences. So it may find out what is the most comfortable, most comfortable. So mindfulness itself evolves. So and even once you are more and more familiar with, you can even have a idea of both legs. So one is touching, the other is lifting. So you have a perspective of both legs, not just one. So all these are kind of evolvement of the mindfulness. At the beginning, no harm. You can be precise. Okay, left leg is touching. You forget about right leg. So you are fully accurate. You are trying to be with the left leg. No problem. Okay, now right leg is touching. You forget about the left leg. Now you are sensing or being mindful about the right leg. So no harm. So you start like that. So then allow it to evolve. So I am just quickly going to the other questions. So if you need any more clarification, please feel free to raise your hand and disturb us. Yeah.
Venerable Sir, some time back you cleared my kamatahan with regards to my sitting meditation regarding the empty space I experience. As you advise, I am trying to experience that state more often. My question today is, I feel this empty nothing state even while doing walking meditation. Please advise.
Yeah, this actually has to welcome. So it is not that. So the point is, so actually this answer again, this question is from someone experienced in meditation. So at the beginning, okay, we are watching the detail, we are establishing mindfulness and then watching details. And as you more and more watch details, suppose you are coming to characteristics of the elements and then you are familiar with these things, then mindfulness further develops, you are able to maintain your attention, your concentration improves. And then say you are able to see certain common characteristics or everything is changing. So various characteristics are there, various elements are there, everything is changing, everything is arising and passing away. So likewise, your understanding deepens, understanding changes, evolves, and wisdom improves. So as you further and further develops, there may be a point where you are able to maintain mindfulness without object. So that is a kind of a breakthrough of your meditation. And once that happens, so it is at the beginning, actually we may be achieving it at a fairly high or deep concentration. So that is the touching, or that is the very early touching of the emptiness. But that is not the case every time. So more and more you experience this, okay? So at the beginning, you are fully, say, anapanasati or another body sensations or whatever thing, and you are touching this emptiness with some deep concentration. But again and again you do it, and you understand how to touch this emptiness with less effort, with less concentration. So at the beginning you need fair amount of concentration to touch emptiness. You need fair amount of effort to avoid the distractions. But more and more you familiar with it, so more and more you understand how to touch this emptiness with less effort and with less concentration. Okay, so because at the beginning our hindrances are so powerful, so we need fair amount of effort. We need fair amount of concentration to touch this emptiness. But remember, this emptiness is a natural thing. It is not something artificial. It is where it is the most, what to say, it is the nature of the mind. So it is what is deep within us, everyone. But unfortunately, various defilements, various distractions cover this emptiness. So therefore we need fair amount of effort to touch it, fair amount of concentration to touch it. But more and more you familiar with the emptiness, more and more abide with the emptiness, so emptiness becomes kind of a nature in your mind. So you are, suppose at the beginning you touch it only for a split second, so you don't know what happened, everything has like collapsed, so you become bewildered, okay, fully frightened, because you fully sort of alienated to this experience. But that is the nature of the mind. But it is more difficult for us. But suppose you are again and again practicing, again and again you are listening to Dhamma, listening to the friends, listening to the true friends, and you are again you are practicing, and again you are touching the emptiness. And now say instead of split second, you are staying there for 10 seconds, staying there for 1 minute, staying there for 5 minutes, staying there for 15 minutes, staying there for 1 hour. Now you get a sense of it. Staying there for 1 hour means now mind understand, okay, what it is. So, okay, there is no object, but complete wakefulness. There is no friction. It's extremely comfortable. Okay, well relaxed. And more it becomes like home to your mind. So more and more it becomes like that. So while walking, you can touch emptiness. So your mind is empty, but body is walking. It's a beautiful thing. So while mind is empty, your body is walking. So your mind is empty, but body is eating. So while mind is empty, you may be driving. So you can do all these things. So that is the beauty of the Dhamma. So it is not that emptiness is something extremely artificial and you need to have a extreme deep concentration to touch it. It may be true only at the beginning, but more and more you be familiar with it, it is the nature of the mind. So it is the nature of the mind. So it appears like artificial only at the beginning because our hindrances are so powerful. Our minds are so distracted. Concentration is less. More and more you being abide with it, being familiar with it, it becomes your nature. It becomes your home. And while talking, your mind is empty. While sitting, your mind is empty. While eating, your mind is empty. While walking, your mind is empty. You are experiencing very well relaxed mentality. So you are experiencing very clear mind, clarity of the mind. So that is actually the kind of the, I would say, the long-term meditation, where it actually all these what we are trying here is a kind of a lab experiment. So we are keeping everything fair to some extent controlled, and we are trying to be familiar with these things. But later on, so once you are in this emptiness, so while keeping emptiness, you are doing various things, but still mind goes to a distraction. Still mind goes to lust. Still mind becomes angry. Then you understand, okay, what is there? So the emptiness is the nature, but still my mind goes to lust. Still my mind goes to become angry. So there you need to find out where are the difficulties, where are the defilements. So where are my bias, where are my likings and dislikings. So this is how we have to handle the deeper, say, defilements, or what we call asava anusaya, those hidden tendencies or character traits, and slowly we purify ourselves. So it is therefore, as the question says, so if you are able to maintain emptiness while walking, please welcome it. Yes.
Venerable Sir, when a yogi is doing the Anapanasati meditation, how to differentiate between samatha and vidarshana? And also, do we have to do the samatha to go to vipassana?
I think when we are trying to differentiate samatha and vipassana, or we are trying to control ourselves as samatha and vipassana, we are blocking ourselves. So rather let it bloom as it like. So at a time it may be comfortable with the sensation. Okay, anapanasati happen, in breath and out breath happen, but right now mind is interested about the touch sensation. Okay, it is feeling some kind of a soft touching. Each in breath it experiencing some touching. Okay, it may be experiencing some kind of softness. It may be experiencing some kind of lightness, experiencing some kind of warmth, cold feeling or hot feeling, heat. So all these things now can say it is into the vipassana side. But another time, mind is not so interested about such detail, but rather it is maintaining just attention at the nostril area without knowing any of these detail, but like anchored at the nostril area. It's not interested about this detail, rather mind is sort of absorbed. Mind is stopped at the nostril area. So maybe we can say it is samatha. Time to time it can vary. So allow it to happen. So samatha and vipassana both taught by Buddha. So time to time it can change. Actually, when you are developing, when you have fair amount of developed mindfulness, you can actually guide it to samatha side or the vipassana side. But at the beginning, don't try to do it. So at the beginning, just accept whatever it is evolving. Say it is seeing these differences, subtle details, as I explained, accept it, be with it, go in that direction. If it is interested about just staying there and being comfortable and experiencing some kind of calmness, welcome it. Just go in that direction. So both are helping each other. Samatha helps vipassana, vipassana helps samatha. So no harm. But only actually the harm happens maybe at the fairly higher states where certain, actually very rarely few people are more interested about just staying in a blissful state in samatha concentration without moving to the vipassana side. So that may be, I would say, kind of hindering your growth and you are stagnating at one level. So it only happens to very few people. So I don't think any of you are there. So actually experiencing some kind of bliss, tranquility, calmness, no harm. We need to experience it. So we then taste the meditation, the calmness of the mind, no harm. But that is not the end. So that if we understand that very clearly, no harm in experiencing it. No need to be afraid of such calmness. Only thing is, while experiencing it, we should know the limit. If we are staying there for hours and hours, then we are sort of disturbing or slowing down our growth in the wisdom side. So we need fair amount of calmness, concentration, and which is enough for developing wisdom. So that we need to take hand in hand together.
Venerable Bhante, a yogi doing vipassana meditation will not be hindered by the Mara force. Within brackets, vipassanaවට Mara බලවේග වලින් බාධාවක් නැහැ. Bhante, can you please explain this further?
මාරයෝ නම් ඉන්නවද? Actually, this statement gives strike me with little verse that Buddha has said, that one time there is one venerable called Mogaraja. So he come and ask from the Buddha, Bhante, how one can live without being noticed by the Mara? So he wants to live without noticed by the Mara. So then Buddha says, in the Mogaraja Sutta, so there's a beautiful verse. It says, Sunyato loko avekkantang Mogaraja sada sato. Evan lokang avekkantang machu raja na passati. Sunyato loko avekkantang. So if someone is seeing the whole world as empty, and he's with the emptiness, okay, seeing everything is empty means that he's in the emptiness, he's there. And he has no any kind of attraction to anything. So he's not grasping anything, rather because he understands. So in this emptiness, everything is coming and going. So it is beautiful things are coming, but they are also going. Ugly things are coming, but they also go. No point. No point to attach to beautiful things, because it's coming and going. So, and really ugly things are coming, that's also going. So you just stay there and see everything's coming and going. So as nothing is not so disturbed. So when Buddha therefore says, Sunyasa loko avekkantang Mogaraja sada sato. Sada sato. Every time with unbroken mindfulness. So he has the continuous mindfulness, and with such mindfulness he is seeing the world as empty. Evan lokang avekkantang machu raja na passati. So when a person is looking like that, experiencing like that, the Mara can't trace him. Mara can't catch him. So in a way, the same statement in a different words. Okay, so vipassana means, so Mara here does not mean that the kind of a Mara, the God looking there and trying to focus me and find me. It is the defilements trying to catch me. So whenever defilements are there, so if you know, now suppose like this, now suppose you are not meditating, okay, you are simply like a youth, just going from this object to the other object, this sensation to the other sensation, going from one side to another side, one song to another song, one sense to another sense. So likewise, it's simply gratifying the senses. So in such situation, you can't see any kind of emptiness. Your mind always wants objects. So it's torturing you, asking this and that. So it always needs something to look, something to hear, something to taste, some kind of touch. So it always needs something. But through meditation, you are experiencing some kind of calmness. So you are not going in this sort of typical path, the typical wave. You are not going. Rather, you are sort of controlling yourself. You are step back and see what is happening really. And more you develop like that, so your mindfulness develops, and then you understand, okay, now I am in the present moment. I am not daydreaming about the future or the past, but I am fully aware of the present moment. While you are fully aware about the present moment, okay, now a defilement arises. Now Mara is coming. Defilement is arising, but you have developed mindfulness, strong mindfulness. So you simply even have to watch, simply understand, now lust is there. Okay, now lust has arisen. And you are not caught to lust, and you are not feeding lust. You are simply watching lust. And since you are not feeding it, since you are not strengthening it, it has to decay, it has to reduce, it has to cease. Suppose while you are being mindful, suppose anger arises. Okay, you understand, anger has arisen. Anger has arisen. Now since you are not feeding it, and again you are not being afraid to it, you are fairly strong enough to see anger as anger. Okay, anger is there. You step back and look at anger, not feeding it, and just let it be. And since it is not getting strength from you, not getting any nutrition from you, it is simply fades away. So you are handling all defilements. So this has to go again and again. Maybe till you die we have to do it. So till you attain arahantship, so this is the way to do. So maybe, say suppose you attain arahantship before death. So then anger or lust may not arise. So till they arise, we have to do it. So that is how through vipassana we are handling the mara. That is the kilesa mara, the defilements. So we have to handle it, because don't think that within a week or month you are able to attain full enlightenment. So it may not happen. So accept that we have tons of defilements, but the method is there. Buddha has taught the method. Method is very sharp, very accurate. So it's a tested method, testified method. So use the method. And once you are capable, once you are strong enough, once you are confident enough, you are not being afraid to defilements, because you know, you have the experience how to handle them. So that's the only way actually. Yes.
Theruvan Saranai, Venerable Swamin Wahansa, sitting meditation. Though I could not be mindful at the beginning, after some time I was able to be mindful of the in-breath and the out-breath, and it was clear. Thereafter I felt happy and did not want to come back. Being mindful of the breath, is this the Priti stage? How do I continue from here?
The Piti stage, so you may feel really happy. Okay, so typically when we are in Anapanasati, so at the beginning the mind don't find its taste in Anapanasati, because it remembers the taste in lust. Okay, it goes to lust. It remembers the taste in anger, so it goes to anger. It remembers the taste in the sort of the restlessness, it goes to restlessness. But again and again you are taking your mind attention and keeping in the Anapanasati, in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. More and more you do it, so mind itself understand, okay, this is fairly calm, this is more tranquil. So if I go to this object, it is harmful, it is burning. If I go to that object, it is harmful, it is burning. So it itself avoids it. Now you don't need to forcefully bring it back. So rather mind itself understood it. So now mind itself is with the breath. So that is the kind of a beautiful breath. That is where the piti may arise. So that is where, because now you don't need to do anything. You simply have to sit in the back seat and watch. because mind itself is with the breath. So no defilements, no hindrances, mind is happy. So that is how the piti, the rapture arises. So and if you feel it, so encourage it. So be with it. So don't expect it happen every time, and don't expect with the same intensity it is happening every time. So it also vary. So accept the changes, but when it is there, accept it.
Walking meditation. I have followed all the advice given by from time to time, and my walking meditation is very much improved. Much merit to you. The third question, Gata Pacha Vata. As explained by Venerable Dhammajiva Thero, I practiced being mindful during lunch and was successful about 60% or more until I finished my meal and gave up as it was very difficult. Much merit.
I think it's a report kind of thing. There is no question, isn't it? So, yes, as Bhante has explained, so Gata Pacha Gata Vata is something monks have practiced, where, say, they go on Pindapata, village Pindapata, arms round. So, before going village Pindapata, they establish mindfulness. They have mindfulness. So, while in the Pindapata, also they have mindfulness. And while coming back from Pindapata, also they have mindfulness. And after coming back, also they have mindfulness. So, throughout the whole process, they have mindfulness. So, that is the kind of the, fulfilled or complete Gata Pacha Gata Vata. But there may be breaks in between. There may be disturbance in between. So that is what we need to further improve. Say, while you are going to Pindapata, while you are going for lunch, you may have mindfulness. But while having lunch, you may not have mindfulness. Then understand, okay, I couldn't maintain mindfulness while having lunch. So then improve yourself, find out where you lose mindfulness, and then try to improve mindfulness. Suppose when you are coming back, you got to talk with someone else, and then you lost your mindfulness. Then you understand, okay, I had continuous mindfulness throughout, but on the way back, I lost it. So understand where you lost it, and next day, try to maintain that. So likewise, so we need to be aware, sort of vigilant of where we lose mindfulness and where we are able to maintain mindfulness. So it's a matter of now improving it. Yes.
Dear Venerable Sir, as I became increasingly aware of mindful, it becomes clear that everything is an object. Thoughts, body sensations, emotions, sounds, memories, everything. When there is a clarity of clear seeing that I am simply aware and not any of these objects, there is a lot of release and relief. Yet, when I identify with these objects, the experience becomes denser and heavier. Upon further reflection, it too appears to be an object. As I settle into the retreat, it becomes easier to become aware of the objects, yet not identify with them. And still, the mind of attention wander away with certain objects. I keep bringing my attention back to this free awareness. I'd love some reflections and guidance on how to proceed. Thank you.
Yes, so when you are experiencing a kind of good emptiness, so sometimes we may attach to emptiness. So that is also not necessary. It's all right to understand that is the nature of the mind. So that is the least friction path, no defilements, the most purified state of the mind. But due to certain reasons, it get defiled. Can't help. So still we have defilements. So still we have the tendencies, we have the influxes. So again mind get defiled. So by worrying, no solution. So one option is, actually there are various solutions. So one solution is not to get much bothered. Okay, now mind, you understand, okay, mind is defiled, mind is with lust or anger, whatever thing, but you know it is going. If once you stop feeding it, it will go. So you are not much bothered about it. You are not much disturbed about it, because you know very well whatever arises is passing away. So this also has now arisen. So definitely it will pass away once you stop feeding it, once you stop tasting it. So once you let it go, then it will naturally goes away. So therefore you feel confident about your practice, confident about your mindfulness. You trust your mindfulness. And just be as it is, without doing much. Slowly, whatever the disturbance, whatever the object, slowly fades away. So that may be one approach. Another approach is, once one kind of object has arisen, so you can find out why I has chosen that object. Okay, now suppose you are thinking about your children. Okay, now your daughter, your son appears in your mind. Now that is the object, comes into your mind. Now before that object comes to the mind was empty, calm, and now your daughter or son is in your mind. Now finding out the reason. Okay, why am I interested about this object? So you have some kind of attachment to your daughter, some kind of attachment to your son. So this attachment, this is the reason, this is the cause. But this, when you are thinking about your daughter, when you are thinking about your son, it gives some kind of tension. It gives some kind of stress to the mind. So you have lost the previous emptiness. You have lost the previous calmness, clarity of the mind. Rather now your mind is clogged. Your mind is tensed, stressed, because you are attached to something. So what's the solution? You simply understand the attachment. Rather than the object, you see the attachment. Okay, now I have attached. So you have to step back and see the attachment. You fully understand the attachment to the object. Once you understand the attachment, your catch or your hinge or your grab will slowly release, and then that object slowly goes away. So it's a matter of understanding the cause. So I have a kind of a craving, I have some kind of tanha, attachment to this particular object. So that's why I captured that object. So you understood it and you release it. So that is one category of object. Suppose you are thinking about yourself. Okay, I need to do a presentation on tomorrow. Okay, you are thinking, okay, I am going there, I am just telling this, that, and others are watching me, they are clapping, they are appreciating. So all these are now you are dreaming. Now this is kind of related to the ditti, to the sort of wrong view that you are thinking. There is I. This I will go tomorrow. I will perform this. Others are looking at me. So I am being appreciated. So I am being highlighted. I am being praised. So I is there. So now the ditti. So you understand the tendencies. So these are how these defilements are working. So now suppose there are 1001 objects, why we pick one of them? Why specially we selected one thing? So it is due to certain defilements inside. So if we understand that latent tendency, if we understand what is underneath and address it, then it will go away. Then you are again coming back to calmness. So likewise, that's another approach. So you can apply as you like. So you can, as I said at the beginning, you can simply let it be without feeding it. It will naturally go away. Or you can find out the causes behind it. And once you understand the causes, you are not feeding it and it will go away. So likewise, there may be several methods you can apply. So this is how you need to slowly develop mindfulness, develop wisdom, so that you are fully capable of handling defilements. So this is, this we need to further and further sharpen the mindfulness, sharpen the wisdom. So in order to sharpen the wisdom, we need these objects. So therefore, allow them to come, but we are not inviting them, but due to our tendencies, it may come naturally. So once they are there, so we use these vipassana techniques, and then we are simply again freeing ourselves. So that is the approach we need to practice. Okay, so that's all the written questions. So if you have any other question, we can, yes. Yeah.
The results that we normally get from meditation,
Yes.
they say Priti, Sukha, Ekaggata and something. So can we achieve that things by doing the walking meditation? By walking, yeah.
Yes. So I think it is possible, but at the beginning it may not. Because at the beginning it may be difficult. Because it is more challenging. Because typically at the beginning, so it is more challenging because your object changes. At a time your object is left foot. Another time your object is right foot. Another time your object is left foot. Another time your object is right foot. Suppose you are able to maintain unbroken mindfulness. Suppose you are you are able to maintain unbroken mindfulness, continuous mindfulness, even though these object changes. So that slowly reduce defilements. It slowly sweep away defilements, and now you have clarity of the mind. Continuously you are aware of the change. Continuously you are aware of various objects. But none of these objects are carrying defilements. All these objects are very harmless, less defiled, very kind of neutral objects. So that avoids hindrances are coming up. So therefore there's a possibility for piti sukha to arise. So, and Buddha says, Chankamadigato samadhi chirattitiko hoti, as a result, as a advantage in the walking meditation. What he says is, so if you are able to develop concentration in walking meditation, it is long lasting, unlike sitting meditation. Sitting meditation, you are maintaining many parameters fixed. Many parameters are fixed in sitting meditation. So, but whenever certain parameter gone away or sort of change, your concentration breaks. But in the walking meditation, many parameters are changing. But still, suppose you are able to maintain mindfulness. It's a skill. So even with that difficult situation, that challenging situation, if you are able to maintain mindfulness, that means you have a strong mindfulness. And if you are able to maintain continuous mindfulness, definitely there's a possibility that rupture to arise. There's a possibility very calm state of mind to arise, because your thinking is reduced. You are not thinking now. You are simply experiencing. Your body is walking, you are simply experiencing. There is no I. Simply experiencing, simple observation, and no hindrances. And definitely have these positive qualities have to arise. So therefore we can't deny, or we can't say that piti sukha may not arise. They may definitely arise. Probably we can say may not to the level of sitting meditation. In the sitting meditation, since there's a fair chance to go deeper, there's a possibility that you go to a deep stillness, deep concentration, and therefore you have a high intensity piti, high intensity rupture. But in the walking, since you have to maintain the posture, balance and all, so you may not go to such depth. but some amount still you can feel. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, typically we say around 20 feet to 30 feet. Yes. His question is what is the length of the typical walking path? Maybe 20 feet to 30 feet is fair enough. Yes. Okay, I think we have come, so almost 3 o'clock, or is it? I don't know. Yeah. I think any other question, or shall we wind up? So today, respected Bhante is supposed to come and deliver the Dhamma sermon. So I invite all of you to stay. Most probably he will be here by 4 o'clock or 4:30. So with that little notice, so we will wind up the question and answer session. So thank you very much for active participation. Theruvan Saranai.